whispers of a threat far beyond the edge of human space, where stars looked dim and silence ruled the void. There was a name that made even the strongest warriors pause. VARNAK. They were the most feared species in the galaxy, giant, armored and ruthless. For hundreds of years, they crushed any resistance. Worlds surrendered before they arrived. Entire fleets vanished. Civilizations disappeared. No one dared to challenge them. But now, they were coming to Earth. Commander Ray stood on the command deck of Outpost Echo 7, a human science station located near the Helix Nebula. It was quiet as always. Too quiet. He stared at the dark screen in front of him. There were no warnings, no alarms, but something felt wrong. Deep inside, something was moving, something dangerous. "Sir," said a young officer named Donna, "we just lost connection with probe 13 and 14 and 15. Ray's eyes narrowed. 3 probes? At once? Dana nodded, her hands trembling slightly. And all in different areas. No signal, no explosion. Just gone. Ray didn't speak for a moment. He looked at the stars outside the window. Cold, empty, waiting. "Send a priority alert to Earth," he said finally. "Classify it as possible silent invasion." Hours later, in Earth's High Command Center, the message arrived. A room full of generals and scientists read the report. Most thought it was just a system glitch. Others laughed. But one old general stood up slowly. "The Varnak," he whispered. "It's them." Everyone in the room fell silent. "The Varnak haven't moved in decades." Someone said. "Exactly," replied the general. "They're never loud. They never announce when they go quiet. It's because they've already started." Back at Outpost Echo 7, something strange happened. A small cargo vessel drifted near the edge of the station. It didn't respond to calls. It didn't broadcast its ID. Ray gave the order. "Pull it in." Carefully, the docking crew brought the ship in. It was old, damaged, and covered in burn marks. The nameplate was unreadable. A team went inside to search. They found no life signs. Except for one thing. A message written in blood across a wall. "Do not resist." Ray stared at the words, trying to control his thoughts. Something about the message felt wrong. It wasn't just a threat, it was a promise. A promise that something terrible was coming. Later that night, while reviewing security footage, Ray noticed a shadow move across one of the station's long corridors. It was quick, tall, not human. He paused the footage, zoomed in. It was blurry, but he could see 2 glowing red eyes. He grabbed the comm, locked down the station. No one enters. No one leaves. Meanwhile, deep inside Varnak territory, a meeting was taking place. Varnak warlord Krask stood before a group of alien warlords. "The humans have spread too far," he said in his cold, sharp voice. "They build in silence. They grow in strength. But they are soft, unready. It's time we remind the galaxy who rules the stars." Another warlord asked, "Are you sure?" "No one has ever beaten them in close combat," Krask growled. "We are not afraid of pain. And humans bleed like the rest." He raised a black spear and pointed it toward the hologram of Earth. "Burn their worlds. Start with their outer colonies. Make them kneel." The command was given. The invasion began. Ray sat in his office, staring at a single photo, an old picture of Earth, his family, and a promise he once made. "I'll keep them safe." He heard the alert go off. A message had arrived from a nearby human colony. "We are under attack. Unknown ships. Heavy losses. We need help." Then Silence. Ray stood up slowly. The station around him turned red with warning lights. He didn't panic. He didn't shout. He just looked out the window one last time, then gave his order. "Tell Earth. They've made their move." And then he added, quietly, Let's show them what humans really are. Asterisk first contact first. Mistake. The sun over colony Theta 9 had just begun to rise, casting soft orange light across its wide, forested valleys. It was a peaceful human settlement, quiet farms, research labs, and a mining operation deeper in the cliffs. Children played in the fields. Birds, some native, some earthborn, sang into the clean morning air, but none of them knew they were being watched. High above, hidden in orbit behind the planet's pale moon, a massive Varnak warship waited in silence. Inside its cold black halls, warriors prepared for battle. Varnak Commander Grell stood in the center chamber, his 6 glowing eyes fixed on a hologram of the human colony below. "They don't even have a defense grid," he growled. "No shields, no fleet. They truly are soft." His second in command, a younger Varnak named Sif, nodded with a smirk. "They built homes, not bunkers. This will be over in minutes." Grell raised his blade, long and curved like a crescent moon. "No survivors, no messages. We strike now." Back on the colony, a young girl named Laya was helping her father carry water back to their small home when she looked up and gasped. Dozens of black lines were falling from the sky. "Dad!" "What is that?" Before her father could respond, the sky erupted. Explosions, screams, buildings crumbled in seconds. The ground shook as large dropships slammed into the soil, opening like metal jaws. Giant armored beasts emerged, roaring commands in a language no human understood. The Varnak had arrived. Inside the colony's emergency tower, a few surviving guards scrambled to send a signal. One officer managed to press the final emergency beacon before the roof exploded and fire consumed the room. The signal reached Outpost Echo-7. Commander Ray read the message with a hard face. Theta 9 under siege. Unknown enemy. Civilian casualties confirmed. Dana looked at him. "Do we send a rescue?" Ray didn't answer at first. Then he turned to the tactical map and spoke. "No, we send a message." On Theta 9, the Varnak swept through homes and farms, destroying everything. They expected panic, screaming, chaos. And at first, they got it. But something strange happened after the first hour. The humans stopped running. In one area, a group of workers formed a defensive wall using mining equipment and hunting rifles. In another, farmers set traps pits, wires, hidden explosives. Children were led to safe tunnels, not by soldiers, but by teachers with pistols and calm eyes. The Varnak began to notice. "These are not prey," one soldier reported. "They fight back." By the second hour, a human resistance force had formed near the colony center. Among them was an ex-soldier named Tom, who once served in the Earth Frontier Forces. He wore no uniform now, just a leather jacket and an old rifle, but his mind was sharper than ever. He gave orders quickly, clearly. Don't waste ammo. Hit their joints. Use the terrain. And never let them surround you. One Varnak squad moved into an alley near the power plant. They never came out. Commander Grell watched from above, confused. His forces were still winning. But they were taking losses, real losses. How? These humans weren't trained soldiers. They weren't armed for war. And yet, they were hunting as warriors like predators in a jungle. One of the most feared Varnak champions, Vorthik the Scourge, stepped onto the battlefield, eager for blood. He marched through fire and rubble, crushing doors and scattering defenses. Then he entered a ruined warehouse. Inside, it was quiet. He heard a sound, something small, a whisper. "Hey." He turned, just as a grenade rolled under his foot. Boom. The explosion threw him backward. Armor cracked. As he stood up, coughing black smoke, a human boy no older than 17 stood in front of him, holding nothing but a long metal pipe. "You're not as scary as you look," the boy said calmly. Vorthik roared and charged. The boy sidestepped, struck his leg, then shouted to the rooftops. Now! 6 humans rose from above and opened fire with precision shots. They didn't panic. They didn't shout. They had hunted before. And now they hunted the galaxy's most feared species. Commander Ray received a direct feed from the colony, showing Varnak bodies on the streets and humans still standing. He looked at Dana and said 3 words. They made a mistake. In the black void of space, far beyond even the Varnak's sensors, Earth's Black Ops fleet began to move. A ship named Silent Storm activated its engines. Its pilot, Captain Mara, a quiet woman with a scar across her jaw, smiled as she got her orders. Full deployment, the voice from Earth said. Send the message, Mara replied with steel in her voice. Message received. Time to remind them who we are. What they didn't know, the Varnak had fought hundreds of wars across the galaxy. They burned empires, broke resistance, and forced planets into surrender with only a whisper of their name. Their warriors believed they had seen every kind of enemy, but they had never fought humans like this. Commander Grell paced inside the warship's main command deck. The hollow map of Colony Theta 9 showed blinking red marks Varnak units offline, missing, or destroyed. He bared his teeth in frustration. How can farmers kill trained warriors? He growled. Sith, his second-in-command, looked nervous. We underestimated them, Commander. These humans, they use traps, ambushes. They know the land better than we do. They fight like predators? Grell snapped. YTH hesitated and nodded. Yes. Grell's claws clenched. They were supposed to be prey. In one of the colony's ruined districts, Tom, the former Earth soldier, crouched behind debris with 3 survivors. They weren't soldiers, just a medic, a miner, and a teenage girl. But they had survived. Tom used dirt and oil to draw rough. Maps on the floor. They expect direct attacks. We give them shadows. Use their fear. He tapped the old earpiece in his ear and whispered, Mara, report. From high orbit, aboard Silent Storm, Captain Mara's voice came through. Calm, focused. Black Ops teams landed in Zone 4. Resistance groups are holding strong. We're tracking Varnak's signals. They're confused and angry. Tom smiled faintly. Good. Let them stay confused. On the Varnak warship, scientists finally reported their findings. These humans evolved on a death world, Commander, one said. A planet with extreme weather, wild predators, constant danger. Their bodies are weak, but their minds, they adapt fast, the scientist continued. Too fast. When one human sees something, 1,000 learn. They build, they plan, and worst of all, they don't give up. Grell turned away, his thoughts dark. How did we miss this? He asked no one. A secret Earth research base beneath Colony Theta 9 began transmitting. Inside, an old AI system known as Athena Core came back online after years of silence. Humanity confirmed under attack. It said, activating. Planetary Defense Archive. Massive steel doors opened beneath the colony's ground. What the Varnak thought was just farmland was something else. Old Earth weapons, mechs, drones, sleeper units, buried in silence. Built for war. Now, reawakening, the Varnak launched a second wave, larger, heavier, and more aggressive. They dropped siege machines, armored beasts, and elite. Killers to crush the growing human resistance. But this time, the humans were ready. They didn't meet the invaders with fear. They met them with strategy. In the western hills, Mara's team used laser-guided mortar hidden in tree trunks. In the abandoned mining fields, Tom planted pressure bombs triggered by heat signatures. And in the city center, teenagers used hacked drones to confuse Varnak radar. Sith stood on the edge of the battlefield, Stunned. A full Varnak assault team had just been wiped out. By 10 humans. Only 10. And not by strength. By planning, timing, intelligence. He watched as a lone human walked through smoke and debris, calm and focused. Sith whispered to himself, "What are these creatures?" The human face covered in ash, and blood looked directly at him. And smiled. Inside the Varnak warship, Grell called for a fleet retreat. "This is not a battle," he growled. "This is a trap, and we've walked into it." "But the humans have no capital ships here," a technician said. "They don't need capital ships," Grell said. "They're already inside our heads." Meanwhile, on Earth, the Galactic Council watched from hidden satellites. Dozens of alien races monitored the battle, expecting to see humanity broken. Instead, they saw the impossible. One of the Council leaders, a tall alien named Vorik, stared at the screen. "Impossible," he whispered. "The Varnak are losing." Another replied, "No, the humans are teaching them something they've never learned." In the heart of Theta 9, Tom walked into a ruined square where Varnak bodies lay still. A human child stood nearby, shaking but unharmed. Tom bent down. "You okay?" The child nodded. "They tried to grab me, but I ran through the tunnel, like." "You said?" Tom looked up at the sky. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "But now, we know what they fear." Far above, the silent storm entered stealth mode and vanished from orbit. Its next destination, a Varnak outpost deeper in space. Because what the galaxy didn't know, what the Varnak still couldn't understand, was this: humans were not just survivors. They were hunters. And when you declare war on hunters, you become the hunted. Asterisk losses begin. The stars above. Theta 9 no longer belonged to the Varnak. For the first time in 100 years, their fleet, undefeated, feared across systems, was breaking formation. Ships retreated. Orders scrambled. Communications overlapped with panic. Inside the flagship Bloodpiercer, Commander Grell stood silent, his claws tight around the command rail. His face, once proud and cold, now showed something alien to his kind. "Our forces are thinning," Sith reported, voice low. 4 forward camps destroyed. One was hit with stolen Varnak explosives. They used our own tech against us. Grell didn't speak. His eyes were locked on the screen, a live feed from the colony's northern field, where fire still burned. The footage showed 6 human resistance fighters moving through fog. 3 Varnak beasts rushed them, but the humans didn't run. They spread out, used hand signals, and set traps with shocking speed. They lured the Varnak into a ravine lined with explosives salvaged from previous battles. When the creatures charged, the whole trench exploded. Smoke cleared. Only humans remained. On the planet's surface, Tom stood at the center of an old comms tower. He looked worn, his armor dented, his hands bruised, but he was still standing. He looked at the sky as black Varnak ships fled orbit. "They're running," said Laia, the young girl from earlier. She stood beside him now, carrying a small rifle. Tom shook his head. "Not yet. This is just fear. They'll be back." He paused. "But next time, they'll know who they're fighting." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council secure. Room was in chaos. Dozens of alien leaders spoke over each other. News feeds played the footage again and again. Humans defeating the Varnak species who once burned 6 worlds in a week. One council member, a tall, silver-skinned elder, leaned forward and whispered, "We made a mistake. We never should have left Earth out of our alliance. Now they are waking up." Another added, "We feared the Varnak, but we forgot. Earth is a death world." On the far side of Theta 9, near a broken mining camp, Captain Mara and her Black Ops team moved silently through Varnak territory. Dressed in adaptive suits that bent light, they blended into the terrain. Their mission: to disable Varnak comes and redirect one of their fleeing transports. Mara pointed at the wreckage ahead. That's their relay. 2 guards. Her teammate whispered, "Take them down?" Mara nodded. Seconds later, 2 quiet shots echoed, and the Varnak guards dropped. No noise. No hesitation. Just human precision. Inside the blood piercer, another officer burst into the war room. "Commander," he shouted, "they've infiltrated our eastern perimeter. 2 generators are offline." Grell snarled. "How?" "No ships passed through. No drops detected." "They're already here," the officer whispered. "They've been here the whole time." Grell slammed his fist into the console. "Enough. Prepare the orbital cannon. We will erase this colony from the map." Sith hesitated. "That weapon will destroy everything, including our own troops." "I don't care," Grell growled. "We cannot lose this war." In Earth's command bunker, far from the battle, a red light began to flash. "Athena Core A, I processed the data." Instantly. Varnik planetary cannon charging. Estimated time to fire, 16 minutes. Back on Theta 9, Tom received the same alert. "We're out of time," he said. "If that cannon fires, this colony will be gone, with everyone in it." Dana's voice came through the comms. "We have one chance. There's a weakness in their orbit pattern. If we time it right, we can launch a stealth drone through their blind zone." Tom nodded. "Do it." High above, the silent storm adjusted position. Its hull glowed with barely visible pulses as it moved between the debris of broken ships. Inside, Mara launched the drone. It flew silent, fast, unseen, and it carried one payload. A virus created to shut down the orbital cannon. Seconds passed, then minutes. Inside the blood piercer, alarm screamed. System overload. Cannon offline. What happened? Grell shouted. The screen flickered. And then it showed a single message. "We see you." The message didn't come from the humans. Military. It came from a group of civilian hackers in an underground shelter, young programmers who had turned salvaged Varnik tech into a weapon. They had never seen a battlefield, but they had just saved a planet. The cannon failed. The Varnik fleet faltered. And for the first time in their long, bloody history, they retreated. Not from strength. But from something worse, a species that should never have survived. The next day, on Theta 9, humans began burying the fallen. They carried their wounded. They sang in old Earth languages, voices low, hearts burning with quiet fury. Tom stood near the edge of the field, watching the smoke rise from the mountains. "They came as monsters," he said. Mara stood beside him. "And now?" Tom looked at the stars. "Now they'll remember us." The Earthborn strategy. The fires on Theta 9 were still burning when Earth made its decision. The High Council didn't broadcast any loud declarations. No official speeches. No threats sent into space. Instead, Earth went quiet dangerously. Quiet. That silence meant only one thing. Humanity was preparing. In the central command bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Adira paced before a giant tactical screen. Around her sat Earth's top strategists, military leaders, ex-special forces scientists, and one historian. The historian, an older man with tired eyes, spoke first. "The Varnak have never faced true war. What they've done for centuries was not conquest, it was bullying. And bullies." He looked up. Double quotes. Down single quotes. "To know how to react when someone hits back harder." General Adira nodded slowly. "Our colonies have held. Our people have adapted. Now we begin the next phase, Operation Stormwake." A young officer blinked. "Stormwake?" Adira smiled. "It's not about defense anymore." Back on Theta 9, Tom gathered what remained of the fighters. His voice was calm but firm. "We're not just holding this colony. We're turning it into a base. He pointed at the surrounding terrain, reinforced the hills with drone nests, set new traps in the canyons, convert the tunnels beneath the mines into barracks and armor storage. If they come back, he paused and looked each one in the eye, they'll find hell waiting for them. In orbit, Captain Mara and the crew of Silent Storm received a private message from Earth. It contained new orders, new coordinates, and a full fleet deployment schedule. Mara read the final line aloud. Begin Ghost Recon. Target, Varnak Core Systems. Her crew looked at each other in silence. Then Mara gave the quiet command. Set course. No lights. No signals. We go in shadows. In Varnak space, the Empire was shaking. News of Theta 9 spread like poison. Number. One had ever imagined a human colony could survive an assault from a Varnak battle legion. But now, one had, and not just survived, fought back. Varnak leaders called for answers. Generals blamed faulty planning. Soldiers blamed poor intel. But whispers moved faster than orders. Whispers about humans. Whispers that said, they adapt. They don't. Stop. They're already watching us. In a dark hall within the Varnak capital fortress, a secret meeting took place. Warlord Krask, the supreme commander of the Varnak war fleets, slammed a metal fist into the table. How did we lose? An older strategist answered carefully. They learn. Faster than we do. They share every weakness we show. Krask growled. They are flesh and bone. We are steel and stone. The strategist nodded. Yes, but steel breaks. And stone can be buried. Krask stared at the hologram of Earth. For the first time, I am not sure we can win. Meanwhile, in hidden labs on Earth and Luna Base, scientists activated old AI constructs machines once shelved for being too dangerous for peacetime use. Project files reopened. ARES. Vulture, Nemesis. Each was designed not for survival, but for domination. At the same time, sleeper fleets hidden in asteroid fields came back online. Sublight destroyers, gravity field torpedoes, cloaked missile platforms. Earth hadn't stopped. Building during the age of peace. It had just built in silence. Tom received a package delivered by an old satellite drone. It came sealed with a red code. Inside was a handheld device, ancient, battered, but still blinking. It was a command key to Earth's old planetary defense satellite grid. Tom stared at it. Didn't they shut this system down after the Martian war? Someone asked. Tom smiled. They said they did. He plugged it in. And the skies around Fate 9 shifted. Above the colony, 6 massive satellites reactivated, silently aiming at orbital space. Now, if the Varnak tried another assault, they would be vaporized before they reached the ground. Captain Mara's ship, Silent Storm, entered the Varnak outer territories. They moved without sound, using stealth technology Earth had developed during the Jupiter conflict decades ago. No one had used it in years, but Earth never forgot. The crew watched through cold glass as they passed the Varnak fleet yards. Mara whispered, "Get the data. Find their fuel depots, their command relays, their weak points." Her team began mapping everything, because once Earth had a map, they would start tearing the Empire apart from the inside. On Fate 9, a message came through from Earth. It played on a secure channel. One line, "Hold position. Earth is moving." Tom looked at the sky and whispered, "It's starting." Laia stood beside him, now wearing a scout uniform. "What's starting?" Tom answered without turning. "The part where they stop underestimating us." For the first time in history, the galaxy was watching Earth. And for the first time, they were afraid. Because what no one outside of humanity understood was this: humans don't forget. Humans don't forgive. And when humans plan, they conquer. Asterisk, the fall of the feared. The Varnak had never tasted defeat. For centuries, their name echoed across the stars like thunder. Entire species knelt when they arrived. Cities surrendered without a fight, and those who dared resist were erased. But now, the mighty Varnak Empire, so proud, so feared, was breaking. And it was Earth that was breaking them. It started with whispers. Fuel depot exploded near the Varnak colony of Dravis Prime. No warning, no enemy fleet. Just fire from nowhere. Then came the sabotage at the ore fields of Baran Delta. The workers vanished overnight, and all mining operations collapsed. Soon, hundreds of Varnak communication beacons went dark. Their long-range sensors failed. Their war messages bounced into silence. The commanders believed they were cursed. But it wasn't magic. It was human strategy. In deep space, the Earth's stealth fleet moved like ghosts. No songs. No announcements. Just precision. Captain Mara, still aboard Silent Storm, now led dozens of Earth warships cloaked in adaptive tech. They struck fast. They left nothing behind. No trace, no signal, only fear. Each time the Varnak sent reinforcements. They arrived too late. Every base had already burned. Every outpost already lost. On Earth, General Adira watched the red dots vanish one by one from the galactic map. She stood calmly as her team marked each successful operation. Next, she asked. Her aide pointed to a blinking red Velkar fortress. Once a Varnak training world. Our agents say it's where they produce their elite guards. Adira gave one nod. Send the Iron Rain team. Clean sweep. Leave their sky burning. On Theta 9, Tom sat on a rooftop overlooking a growing camp of survivors. Children ran between supply trucks. Workers rebuilt homes using scrap metal and solar bricks. The colony was healing, but Tom's eyes stayed, focused on the stars. He knew this was just the beginning. Laya walked over with a datapad. Captain Mara just sent this, she said. Another Varnak command ship destroyed near the rim belt. No. Survivors? Tom nodded. They thought they were the only monsters in the dark. He paused. They were wrong. In the Varnak High Council chamber, panic had replaced pride. Screens showed report after report, fleet losses, base failures, sabotage. One general shouted, "These aren't random attacks. They're inside our empire." Another growled, "We are Varnak. We do not fall." But even as he spoke, an explosion rocked their outer capital dome. Sirens screamed. A message appeared on every screen. It was in a human voice. Calm, cold, direct. "This is for Theta 9. Back on the field, Captain." Mara stood before a burning wreck. Her team had just taken down a Varnak cruiser on foot, using coordinated drone strikes and hacking pods. A nearby soldier asked, "Captain, why do we always leave one ship floating?" Mara stared at the sky. Because fear spreads faster than missiles. Soon, strange things began happening across Varnak worlds. Supplies vanished from their vaults. Elite guards reported seeing human silhouettes in their own bunkers. Propaganda screens showed glitchy messages in Earth's language. The message was always the same. "We warned you." The Varnak commanders couldn't rest. They slept with weapons beside their beds. They distrusted their own shadows. Their soldiers broke rank, deserted, or even surrendered without a fight. Fear had taken over. Not fear of weapons. But fear of humans. On Earth. News spread. Colonies once quiet began to cheer. Flags were raised. Songs were written, not songs of victory, but of revenge served cold. Even the Galactic Council, once silent observers, sent a message to Earth. It read, "We acknowledge your strength. We will not interfere." But Earth didn't respond. Because Earth no longer needed their permission. Deep inside the Varnak archives, an old scholar found something. It was a file from 1,000 years ago, when Earth was still unknown. It read, "Primitive, violent, unpredictable, Deathworld species. Do not engage." The scholar looked up. We should have listened. As the silent storm returned to its new forward base, Mara stood with her helmet under her arm. Tom greeted her at the landing platform. "It's working," he said. Mara nodded. "They're not just losing. They're collapsing." Tom smiled faintly. "It's strange. We didn't need giant fleets or super weapons." "No," Mara said. "Just strategy, patience, and pain." She looked at the darkening sky. "And we've had enough of all three." Back in the Varnak capital, the final fleet admiral sent one desperate message to Earth: "We surrender. What are your terms?" Earth's reply came hours later, only 2 words: "Not done." The message sent, the Varnak War Council stood silent. Their cities still smoked. Their strongest fleets had fallen. Their homeworld, once seen as untouchable, now trembled under the invisible pressure of human eyes, watching from above. The mighty had been broken, and Earth had not even needed to speak loudly. They had let their actions shout for them. Inside the Varnak capital dome, the once proud warlord Krask knelt. Around him, tall banners had been pulled down. Armor laid scattered. His generals were gone, either dead, fled, or too ashamed to show their faces. The room was cold. So quiet that even his own breath felt too loud. And then the doors opened. Not with crashing force, but slow, controlled, calm. Commander Ray entered, wearing a dark gray coat with no medals, no ranks, just the Earth insignia on one arm. Behind him walked Captain Mara, Tom, and 2 silent soldiers. Ray stepped forward without a word. Krask looked up with bloodshot eyes. "You've won." Ray didn't answer. Krask whispered again, softer now. "What happens to us?" Ray looked around the broken chamber. "You ruled with fear," he said. "You silenced voices, crushed lives, burned worlds. And you thought no one would fight back." He paused. "You were wrong." Far above the Varnak world, Earth's stealth fleet hung in orbit. Ships were parked silently in position, not to attack, but to watch. Every Varnak ship that tried to launch was disabled within seconds. Every signal they sent for help was blocked. The galaxy had turned its back because they had seen the fire. Earth carried Dot, and no one wanted to stand in its way. On the outer edges of the system, the Galactic Council watched through long-range probes. Some were shocked. Others remained still. A few even smiled. They had once feared the VARNAK. Now they feared what would come next. But Earth made no demands. They didn't ask for resources, land, or power. Instead, Earth sent one simple transmission, translated into every language across the stars. "We do not seek war, but if war seeks us, we will end it." On Theta 9, life returned slowly. New buildings rose where craters once lay. Crops were replanted. Children laughed again. Tom walked the colony with Laya, now part of a new scout team. She looked at the blue sky above. "It feels different," Tom nodded. "Because we earned it." At the edge of the hill, they looked out at a tall metal statue just completed. It showed a group of humans standing together, one holding a rifle, one holding a child, one reaching out toward the stars. A plaque beneath read, "We do not run. We do not kneel. We rise." In Earth's Central Command, General Adira stood alone in front of the large galaxy map. Red zones, once Varnak territory, were now marked neutral. A quiet voice came from the side. "Ma'am, what happens now?" She didn't answer at first. Then slowly she said, "Now the galaxy will think twice." Back in the Varnak capital, Commander Ray turned to leave the broken council chamber. Krask, still kneeling, called out once more, You came all this way just to watch us fall. Was it worth it? Ray paused at the doorway. He turned just enough to answer. We didn't come to watch you fall. He looked Krask in the eye. We came to send a message. And then he walked out, leaving silence behind. That message traveled far and wide. To every pirate who thought humans were weak. To every empire that once ignored Earth's voice. To every species that saw humans as prey. Now they all knew humanity was not prey. Humanity was the predator that had waited long enough. Weeks later, in a quiet spaceport on a distant neutral planet, a group of alien traders spoke in hushed voices. Did you hear? One asked. The humans defeated the Varnak. Another nodded. I heard one human ship erased 3 Varnak warbirds in under a minute. A third whispered, they say the humans have more fleets. Still hidden. They all went silent. Then, the oldest among them spoke. They didn't fight to win, he said. They fought to warn us. In the heart of Earth, a child asked her mother, are the monsters gone now? The mother smiled and nodded. They are, for now. The child looked at the stars. Will they come back? The mother held her close. If they do, she said, softly, the stars will remember what we did last time. And high above, in Earth's orbit, a new generation of ships launched silently, designed not to conquer, but to protect. Because now, Earth had a reputation, not just of strength, but of discipline, memory, and wrath. Final transmission. To those who fear us, remember, we did not strike first, but when we stood, the galaxy fell silent.